we are very excited to have her. She is the co-founder of Food52, which has won a James Beard Award for Publication of the Year in 2012, named one of the 50 most influential women in food by Gourmet. Does super amazing things. I love the products they're doing with Provisions, and super thrilled to have you up here. So come on up. Big round of applause.
Almost bowed out because I hadn't prepared anything, and I'm terrified to get up in front of people, but as anyone here knows who has done a startup, like startups are all about doing things that you're uncomfortable with. So I hope you guys will be kind and patient with me. I unfortunately don't have like one defining moment, and I co-founded Food52 with my friend Meryl, but I want to take a couple of steps back first, because I sort of feel like some things that happened before led to our founding moment, which is that I used to work at the New York Times for a lot of years as a food writer and editor. And I left the Times actually to do a startup that had nothing to do with food, and kind of in classic it's kind of like first novel, first startup fashion. Went after something really big and ambitious that I wasn't really cut out to do, which was like this thing that was going to, gather all the like digital strands of your life and like put it onto this like dynamic timeline. It was going to be fantastic. We were going to make $1 billion, and I worked on it for a year with two wonderful people, and we built the prototype. Realized that like it was more than we could take on ourselves. Then we ended up whittling it down to an app for Twitter, in the early days of Twitter, which we did actually get out the door and did some cool things with, but we realized that there was not a business to build there. But the really great thing, I learned like two really great things from that. One was that we had done minimal damage in that we hadn't taken on any funding. It gave us an opportunity. It was actually like a cool idea at the time, so we got introduced to like amazing people like Fred Wilson, and really had a wonderful exposure to this world. And so for me, coming from essentially corporate America, it was like super exciting and like captivating, and I was like, it was life-changing. It was like, I'm never going back. So I had to figure out what else to do. And so at the time I was working on, so that was the one lesson. The other lesson was that I feel like there are like two kinds of founders. There's the ones who can sell anything. They can sell that little pamphlet and into a big idea, and somebody's going to give them $5 million to create that pamphlet. And then there are people who suck at that, and then tend to be the ones who don't like getting up in front of groups, but like doing things, and who like kind of need to prove something, like do a proof of concept, and discovered that is the kind of founder that I am, and my co-founder is. So I come from a cooking background, and I met my co-founder because I was working on this big, like 6-year book project that ended up in a book called The Essential New York Times Cookbook. And so my friend Meryl and I worked on that book for 6 years together, which meant we had spent like an intense amount of time together, found that we worked really well together, became really good friends. And one day, I remember sort of standing in front of the mixer appropriately. We were just talking about kind of like what was going on in the food space and online, and kind of everything that was wrong with it. We were two people who were immersed in the food world, who cared passionately about it, who'd been reporting on all of the like huge changes. Like offline, there was so much going on. Like people were, Brooklyn Brewery is a great kind of result of the food revolution that's been going on. People were creating things, they were making things, they were leaving their jobs to kind of embrace all the changes in food. Online was like 1972. It was like very old school. People, it was like condescending food content that was like, you need something quick and easy because you want to get something on the table. It's like a lot of brown food. In fact, like like the largest food site in the world, allrecipes.com. It's actually gotten better. But like at the time, if you went on their homepage, they had like one food photo that was like this big. It was like very uninspiring. We just felt like there was nothing that we felt like we could connect to. And so we wanted to change that. We also felt like nobody was like taking any like, you know, I don't know, like nobody was being ambitious about it. They were like creating a recipe site or, you know, creating something social. They were doing something commerce related, but nobody was like tying it all together. And if any of you guys cook, you know that like you need recipes, you need inspiration. Food is inherently social. That you also like there are things that you might you would need if you're entertaining, like a platter or tools. There's pantry items. There's just like a million things. And why is it that you can't get these things in one place? We've been taught that you're supposed to like go to Williams-Sonoma for buying stuff, and you're supposed to go to these big recipe mosh pits for our recipes. And so we wanted to essentially change that, but we having spent a year in a failed startup, we knew that we couldn't like bite off all of that at once. So we decided to do essentially a proof of concept, and we were going to do a crowdsourced, curated cookbooks, and the idea was to do that in 52 weeks, which is why we're called Food52. So we decided we're going to go after a book contract, and I published a number of books, so I had experience in this world, and the idea was that we were going to get this book contract and bootstrap our company with the advance money. So when you get a book contract, the publisher will pay you a chunk of money to like basically so you can live off to write the book, and then if the book does really well, you get royalties, but most times you don't ever see royalties. So but we knew if we got that chunk of money, we could like pour it into building the site, not pay ourselves, and like get the company started without investment. So at the time, HarperCollins was trying to be like innovative, and they did this new publishing imprint called Harper Studio. It was run by this really well-established guy. And we went to lunch, and he's like, tell me what you're doing. We're like, well, we're going to do this crowdsourced cookbook. He's like, I'm in. And we were like, we basically just sat down and said, how many books do you want to do? And we were like, I don't know, I have 2, 3, 2, two. And he said, great, we're done. And that was basically the last easy moment of our startup. But essentially that was kind of our founding moment, because we knew that we had some cash in the bank and we lived off of that. He was really nice, actually. It was such a stroke of luck, because it was 2 books. He gave us the advance for 2 of them right away. We lived off of that for a year and a half, and then we went and raised money once we had proven that our idea had legs. So.
That was easy. Any questions for Amanda?
Okay, so my question is Food52 specific. I noticed that you guys have extremely active message boards, and so I'm wondering sort of what you've done internally to build community around the message boards, and sort of if you've done anything specific, or if that's been more just an organic building of the community.
We have actually, this is something we have spent a lot of time thinking about, and again, it was like another thing we're trying to solve, which is that we felt like every food site that we knew felt very impersonal. It was like, where are they located, and like who are there actual people behind there, and like how many, and so we wanted to make that very transparent with our company, and like let people understand, like, so our feeling, like our sort of philosophy about our community is like, we don't have a community, we are the community. And so that means like we answer questions. Like we have like a cooking hotline. If you have any, like you're at the stove and something's going wrong, you can ask a question, and somebody will, experienced home cook will answer. And it could be somebody on our team. We write blog posts. We add recipes to the site just like our community members. And that sounds kind of like vague and maybe like hard to pick up on, but it's the kind of thing that if anybody who engages in the site will pick up on these signals, and we also do a lot of like you know, especially like on our Instagram feed and things like that, like, you know, shots of like our team and people, like, so you understand that there are like real human beings behind this. We have an office on 30th Street. Come visit. Yeah.
Thank you very much.